Today the mayor is going to talk about the state of the city, but I also want to tell you that Bart, I got to remember about Bart. Bart's on vacation. He's a lucky dog. He's somewhere warm and sunny, and it's sunny here, but I don't think it's warm. So in the meantime, I've asked Angela Rosman to introduce the mayor on behalf of OneRedmond. OneRedmond has been spending 8 focus months of constant meetings. 2 months ago I said we'd had 40 of them already, so figure out how many more we've had. And I want to make special appreciation to the council. We presented on Tuesday night. I think we got a very warm reception to that. And Tonica, you've been with us every step of the way, and thank you. Okay. With that, Angela, if you would come up, please.
Good morning. I'm short, so I have to adjust it, but not that short. So it's my pleasure to introduce our mayor, John Marchione. He was elected first in 2007, and he's now on his 3rd and last term as mayor of Redmond, as he will not be seeking re-election this fall. John grew up in Redmond when it was a 1-stoplight town, and the closest freeway access was 405 in Kirkland. For those of you who've been here less than 20 or 30 years, that seems really bizarre, but it's not that far in our past. As an adult, John's leadership and vision has since guided Redmond through a historic growth period in Puget Sound. The city's investment in infrastructure and placemaking continue to make Redmond a great place to live. Under John's leadership, Redmond built out the Bear Creek Parkway and completed the downtown street grid. He negotiated the purchase of the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad property in 2010 and converted it to the Redmond Central Corridor, which is now a fabulous pedestrian path through the heart of the city that meanders past our awesome new downtown park. As a CEO, John implemented an Organization of Excellence program, created customer service standards, and teamed up with local businesses, community leaders, and OneRedmond to work toward one vision for Redmond. John's financial background helped earn Redmond its first AAA bond rating from Standard & Poor's in 2008. This alone has saved Redmond taxpayers millions of dollars. And John's leadership has given Redmond a voice for the region, and decisions on land use, affordable housing, water supply, and last but not least, sound transit light rail. It's not that far away before Redmond will be a light rail stop, actually 4. John's colleagues recognized his regional leadership and has elected him to the president of Sound Cities Association, chair of the Cascade Water Alliance, president of the Puget Sound Regional Council, and he currently chairs the Sound Transit Board. John is simply a wonderful human, and we are so grateful for his 12 years of guidance as mayor in Redmond. He will be missed. And with that, John, the floor is yours.
Well, good morning, and thank you for coming out this morning. I really appreciate it. I'm just going to set up my clicker here. There we go. As State of the City address, it's not about me, the mayor. It's about the city. It's about the organization. It's about the residents. It's about the businesses. I'll be moving along, but the city is always in the hands of the community, and that's important to remember. Elections do matter, and if you don't manage the growth will manage you. So these are some of the guiding principles. But I want to take a second to talk about the snow event. In 2008, when I became mayor, or in January 2008, December 18th, 2008, we had a snowstorm. And I specifically remember that date. And I think there was about 5 days of hard snow on the ground. And the city responded, and like every other city responded, and we did okay. Maybe less than okay, truthfully. I had at least 50 angry emails, and there weren't the communication tools that we have today. So my best communication tool was writing a letter on the front page of the Redmond Reporter and telling people, this is what's happening, this is what's going on. But once a week in a newspaper that's difficult to deliver in the snow isn't the best outreach. I've told staff we've come a long way. Our police, fire, parks, and public works department worked together as one team. The communication within the organization was excellent. The communication with the community was very good. We have since, back then we had 3 plows, we had 5 to 6 plows going. We pushed out through Twitter, Facebook, the website, every opportunity we could what was going on. And as I told staff, I said, I only got 3 angry emails compared to over 50 last time. And 2 of them were about sidewalk shoveling, which we really don't do. So that is an excellent way of a report card on how we've responded to the snow and changed as an organization of being a team that works together. Another way of showing how far we have come is the residents and businesses and the community is very sophisticated and educated, and they're always looking to improve our quality of life. And so I think you will see how far we've come in 2008 and where we're going, and our focus now is on 2050. So, that's how far we've come. The picture on, I guess, your left, that is now where Tipsy Cow is. The picture on the right is more of a modern day look up Cleveland Street. Lots of changes, but improving the quality. There are a number of things that I didn't think I'd have to deal with in 2008 that have come to be true, but that's what you have to do as a leader, is take the challenges as they come. We designed what we did with a purpose. We were very intentional about what we did. These are the themes that we started with, and they apply today. That we want to be a place where you can live your whole life. And you want to have choices in your city. We're not going to prescribe where you live, the transportation, the recreation. We want to provide a variety of services. And these themes in 2007 still apply today. So the journey, how did we get here? Well, when I became mayor, there had been no new road built in Redmond in over 12 years. So we extended the Bear Creek Parkway from Leary Way to the Kentucky Fried Chicken. We extended 164th, which is also known as the Redwood Road, through. It used to stop more or less at Cleveland Street. 161st went through, and it goes through to the Bear Creek Parkway. Out in the east part of the town, we widened Union Hill Road and extended 185th and 188th so they connect from Union Hill Road to the Fall City Road. This was the infrastructure we've been lacking and we needed to catch up. We put pipes in the ground in downtown. I was always talking about why is the growth happening around the river, and they go, well, that's where the sewer pipe is. So we extended the sewer and the water and the stormwater pipe downtown so the growth would occur in the center of our town. We built the 36th Street Bridge in over 520 in 2009 and 10. We installed stoplights for the residents at 104th and 166, and then the old Redmond Road in Westlake Sammamish. We added, people don't believe this one, we added over 100 parking spaces in downtown Redmond. Yeah, they go, but that shows you how popular we've become. I was talking to a friend who lives in Bellevue, and she says her and her husband either go to Seattle or to Redmond for their entertainment. They go to Tropea and to a movie in Redmond, or they go somewhere in Seattle. But we really don't go to Bellevue much anymore. Redmond was known as Deadmond, as I think the old-timers know. And it's now becoming more of a place where the residents can stay here and enjoy the life that they have. And then most recently, we converted the one-way streets to two-way, Redmond Way and Cleveland. And we're working right now with Sound Transit to build bike pedestrian bridges over 520 at 148th and then at 40th. And so you can see maybe some pillars as you drive by. We've also invested in art. Art can be the soul of a community. And while a painted parking lot is maybe not as fancy as some people think, it causes conversation and it causes interest. We've also have the erratic. We have a number of art pieces in Redmond that help bring us together as a community, whether you like it or not, so we can talk. Public safety. In 2011, we added what was called the Neighborhood Resource Officer. We had the school resource officers, and they were, of course, in schools. But the neighborhood resource officers were to partner with our local businesses and get to know them every day. To do a job, for a city to run, it takes the whole community. It's not that the city does everything. And so public safety means working with our public, working with our businesses to make our community safe. Another thing we did real early is build Fire Station 17 on Education Hill. That improved response times on Education Hill by 50% when it opened in 2011. Here we go. Excuse me. If I don't script myself, I'll talk a little too long today. So we've focused over the years on environment. Working with Cascade Water Alliance is a group of 7 cities on the east, mostly on the east side. And we secured water rights to feed, what's the right verb here? To adequately cover the growth that's going to occur. We did this by buying lake taps down in Pierce County, and we thought we'd actually be bringing water up from Pierce County, but instead it gave us leverage to negotiate with the city of Seattle, that's where our water was previously coming from, and we ended up getting better rates for our customers, and we have lake taps in reserve. We rechanneled Bear Creek along 520. This allows greater water storage. It also improves the fish habitat in the area. And then we are in the process of moving Bear Creek away from the industrial lands, moving Evans Creek from the industrial lands. If you know where Swedish is and recycling and Olympic precast, the Evans Creek is back there, and we're going to move it more into the wetlands that are further and deeper there. And this is going to reduce the pollution and help keep our businesses viable and our environment viable. With homelessness and human services, we create an outreach position, and Kent Hay, I don't know if any of you have met Kent Hay, but he is phenomenal in going out and making personal contact with people and getting them into the right programs. In 2014, I say was the height of homelessness on the street. And we have a lot fewer homeless people on the street because we've gotten in, whether they're a veteran in a veteran program or whatever they qualify, Kent is an encyclopedia of knowledge. We've worked with the King County Housing Authority. We purchased Friendly Village. It's a trailer park home off of Avondale. My grandmother lived there in the late 80s and early 90s. And the owner had died and the family put her up for sale. And by working with the King County Housing Authority, we purchased that so that low-income senior housing can remain in our community and that land won't get redeveloped. We've also worked with Providence to create the John Gabriel House. And we also work with HopeLink to make sure their headquarters are here. Both cases, we leased them land so they can stay here in Redmond, or actually John Gabriel House come to Redmond and offer 74 units of housing, most of them affordable. And HopeLink had been searching for headquarters for a number of years, and having them right on a bus line near our downtown has been a great addition. And then for parks and recreation, we've done quiet things like all-weather fields at Grasslawn Park in Perigo. We opened Smith Park in the north end. People talk a lot about the downtown park. Smith Park is in the north end between 116th and 124th. It's 10 acres. Of open space and river. Of course, the downtown park. But we also secured what was the Lake Washington Institute of Technology's campus in Redmond. They are leasing it to us, so we can use it as a community center because the old Redmond Schoolhouse was owned by the school district, and they needed it for their purposes. So that was a great set of partnerships of working together and keeping the taxpayers' costs low. Now, there's some back office accomplishments that I'm proud about and will brag a little about, but these are important things. They're important, but they're maybe not urgent, but we did them anyway. We achieved a AAA rating in 2008, which is the highest rating possible. This has saved us millions of dollars in interest in our bonds over the years. We implemented the budgeting by priorities to make the budget more transparent, to include the public in prioritizing, and then have the discussion about what's important instead of what percentage increase should we do. We've implemented a lean system. A lean is a process improvement way of thinking. We first applied it to our permit systems, and we keep applying it through the city, and then after a time we go back and reapply it again, because you can always get better and improve. But it's a great mentality the employees have. Then recently we've added the customer service center and the customer relations management system. So all calls for services to the city get put into one database and are tracked. We're looking for trends, we're making sure we respond to you. And then the one that maybe goes less noticed than others is we've had 10 straight clean audits from 2008 through the last year of 2017. 2018 hasn't been clean, but when I became mayor, we had an audit finding the year before, and so to have such a long streak, we now get the rookie auditors because they go, oh, go to Redmond, we'll train you there because they do such a good job, you need to learn. We used to get the senior auditors who were looking for something. So our values of customer service, integrity, and accountability have really been embraced by the employees, and that's not something you see every day or in every organization or government. Our community partnerships, again, including the community, is vital to making the city run and having them participate in the various ways of engagement. People say, oh, I don't get a chance to give my input. Unfortunately, we offer these opportunities, but until dirt moves, no one gives a voice. And when dirt moves, it's too late. When we say, hey, we're planning, that's the time. And I'm here to tell you, we're starting a planning round, and it's going to go 3 to 5 years. And this is the time to give your voice again. But what we've just finished is implementing the previous plan. Let's see. Regional partnerships. You know, Redmond has about 90,000 employees and 65,000 residents. And so we have to be part of the region, and we have to be connected, whether it's through sound transit, or our partnerships with our education entities have been exciting and helpful. And then Microsoft has contributed a large amount of infrastructure beyond what's required in our law. The Lake Washington Institute of Technology, as I said, the community center, the King County court system. We worked with them, our police department, our social services, and we have what's called a community court. And it's every Wednesday. Is it every Wednesday? It's every Wednesday at the library where a judge, our human service and police are going, yep. Cases get deferred to the community court to keep people out of the jail system and give them opportunities to make amends for whatever they did. And the more people we keep out of jail, the more people that don't violate the law. Our job is we want compliance more than punishment. Excuse me. Having a vision is good. It's important. If you don't know where you're going, you'll never know if you're there yet. But words are cheap. Now it's time to get it done. And for the past 12 years, we've been getting lots of things done, as I've just talked about. Next few years, we're focusing on the environment, human services, affordable housing, and light rail arriving in the town in the next 5 years now. and you'll see creating a 2-year budget and a 6-year financial plan is the roadmap. So I can talk about vision, and you all can say that looks really good. But the real, for a mayor, for an executive, getting the job done counts too. And I believe Redmond has been getting the job done for quite a while now. So environmental stewardship, again, a top priority of the council and myself, and we've got programs in the budget to include an environmental program manager to coordinate the various city departments and making our carbon footprint smaller. We're looking at reducing waste to zero, which would have been helpful 2 weeks ago. And again, we're planning to be very strategic about it. Here in our diverse and connected community is creating housing for everyone. If you have a job in Redmond, we want to give you the opportunity to live in Redmond, and that builds a stronger community. And the statistics have shown that upper price housing, we have plenty of it. Lower price, there are programs, low income housing. There can always be more of that, but it's the middle income housing product that we're missing throughout the Puget Sound region, and particularly in Redmond. And working with OneRedmond, council heard a presentation Tuesday night on how we can accelerate and invest in that. I've been working with Governor Gregoire, or former Governor Gregoire, and other mayors on how we can emphasize and get this, what we call middle income housing. Who's middle income housing? These are your teachers, your city employees. It's basically 80 to 120% of the median income. And the median income is about $80,000 right now in King County. So, you know, where does your administrative assistant live? Where does your graphic artist? We have a graphic artist in Redmond, and I was asking him, well, where do you live? And he goes, I think Covington. I said, wow. He goes, yeah, my commute's 2 hours. I said, that's a long way to drive. Oh no, I take the bus because I wouldn't want to drive that. And if I did drive it, it would be about 2 hours also. So I really appreciate the city's bus pass. They say in an emergency like an earthquake, that if you cannot get to the city that you work at, you should go to the nearest city hall and help. And that's, you know, police, fire, any city employee. Well, I'm here to tell you, Monroe is the safest city in the area. I know so many police officers that live in Monroe, including our very own chief of police. So if the earthquake comes, at least this year, I might be the one with the badge, and that's not a good thing. Though I will only have a taser, I won't have anything higher than that. But getting it done. And so we've invested $3 million, as you can see. Infrastructure. This is very important. I believe when I came, we had a deficit of infrastructure, and cities always have a deficit in infrastructure. People are always looking for more improvements. They want more bike lanes or roads or parks or what have you. But we were particularly behind. Our pipes in downtown for one-story buildings, yet we zoned for 6-story buildings. We hadn't built any new roads in 12 years. And 51% of the budget is for infrastructure, but half of that is for maintaining what we have. And that's our best investment, is keeping what we have functioning, giving it a long lifespan. We've recently created a capital facilities plan, but what we've learned in that is something might have a life of 30 years. Well, at 15, you need to reinvest something so it reaches that 30-year line. So we're creating our financial plans to meet that. And I just wanted to show you that infrastructure is also one of the most expensive things we have to do. You have to have land, as well as construction, and as well as raw materials. Transportation. Transportation is something that doesn't really ever get better. You just hope it gets less worse. And someone said, well, how do we get the streets back to 1970 where I could zip through this town? And I said, ask Microsoft to leave. And they're like, what? I said, yes, because we're prosperous, because we have jobs, we have traffic. A town that has no traffic has no economy. It has nothing interesting to do. It's a byproduct, it's a choice we could make, but we're trying and we're working hard. Being attached to the regional system and light rail is going to make a difference. Completing the street grid in downtown and soon in Overlake, and we're developing Marymore Village, which is at the east side of Marymore Park. These things, these roads and street grids we're putting in are going to make mobility and circulation better so you can get around our town. And frankly, we don't want you to leave town if you're going to spend money, especially because we get part of that sales tax. Again, this is backroom stuff, but we are investing in our technology. It makes our employees more efficient. It makes our service delivery more efficient. When I started as mayor, I think we had about 770 employees. We went down to about 690 in the recession of 8, 9, and 10, and we're back to about 770. But our level of service never really dropped, and actually the demand for our services has actually increased. Depending how you calculate, you can say we're anywhere from 9 to 18% more efficient than we were 10 years ago. And that is through the lean improvements, it's through technology. And one of the biggest drags on our costs right now are records requests. And I forget the numbers, but I want to say they're in the thousands. Where's my city clerk? And it affects the whole city. And while you might think your 3 pages is something simple, well, there's 50 of you. And out of the 50 of you, 25 of you are just kind of trying to harass us. And it's not, this is a government document right now. The way to obtain it is you have to make a records request, though it'll probably be recycled here in a little bit. And someone has to go through files and see if this exists or if anything else like it exists. We are moving to a records management and retention system so that all our documents are produced digitally and can be searched. And ideally, and when I say ideally, I mean 5 to 10 years maybe, we can have these on the web and you can find your own documents. But it's not as simple as just photocopying more paper or grabbing a bunch of emails. Again, important stuff, but not urgent. We're always updating the website. Websites are like budgets. As soon as you put them out, they're outdated. But we are working hard, and I think second quarter we're going to launch a whole redesign of our website. Safety. Target Zero is targeting 0 car pedestrian accidents and 0 car-to-car accidents, and that's by building safer streets, better signalization signs. It also involves the police department, again, getting compliance over enforcement. Traffic calming is something the city's always worked on. National Night Out, I think we had 20 events. National Night Out is the first Tuesday in August, and neighborhoods get together and have barbecues in the evening, and council and I try to visit them. And back when it was 25, and there's 8 of us, we all took 3. Well, now we're over 60 of these, and the community's really built relationships with each other, with other neighborhood groups, and this is something I'm very proud of. I see my own personal mission is building community, and all these things, I think, build community in one form or another. And then this year, we received a grant for a mental health response person. This is a position in the police department. So I'd say a number of our calls, sometimes up to a third, involve someone with a mental health issue. And that person needs immediate help in some form or fashion. And so this gives us a resource to bring out into the field for even a higher level of expertise in helping. And again, keeping people out of the penal system helps them have a more productive life later. Once you're in the jail system, it's kind of a downward spiral, and statistics show that time and time again. Vibrant economy. Well, how many restaurants were downtown in 2008? And fast food doesn't count. There was Beck's Steakhouse. There was the barbecue place. Tropea, yes, Tropea was around. You had to know where it was, though. It was hiding. In the last 4 years or 5 years, we've added over 20 restaurants into our downtown area. Our tourism and travel have increased. If you come to town center on a weekend, usually there's a soccer tournament going on at 60 acres, and you'll see scads of kids in soccer shorts running around. And this is the way we've connected with other partners to make our hotel industry successful, but also make our parks and recreation successful too. And let me go back one here, if it'll allow me. Business retention enhancements. Let me take a second. OneRedmond's been in existence for about 6 or 7 years now. And it's easy to focus on the glitz and the glamour of, oh, who did we recruit? And we can say, well, Facebook is coming to Willows Road. SpaceX was here over in the east side. But our numbers show it's small businesses where we've been the greatest success. We've had a Washington State University program that worked with small businesses. We have helped connect them with financing for a number of startups, and those create jobs in the 8, 16 people range. But it's these businesses that grow, spin off. Sometimes they grow too big. They have to go to Bellevue or someplace bigger. But we keep businesses humming here in Redmond. So people say, oh, you're all about Microsoft. Well, Microsoft is only 1/3 of our employee population. It's doing the small business. And I don't think OneRedmond tells that to you enough. And for the city to do it would require at least 3 staff people. And we can't do some of the things that a 501c6 does, like a chamber does. We can't necessarily take out Elon Musk for dinner and say why Redmond's so great. We can't give things of that nature of marketing that we're limited in. But there's been much made about the city pays $125,000 into OneRedmond. Well, for us to do that ourselves, we would be paying about $300,000 to $400,000 a year, and so it is a bargain. And I'm really happy with what they do with the small business and retaining businesses here in Redmond. So getting it done. So we have our budget. We have our 6-year plan. Council's going to have a retreat, or I could say the council had a retreat, but it got snowed out. So I'm just going to go from there and they rescheduled the retreat, but we come together with them and create a strategic plan. We prioritize what we're going to do, when we're going to do it, and make sure all the puzzle pieces fit. Our directors team's important to that because they know the details of what goes together and how you don't want to build a road before you put in the sewer pipe and things of that nature that seem obvious. But if one department is only thinking about themselves and another department's only thinking about them, you can get out of whack quite easily. There we go. So as I pass the baton to our next mayor, whoever that might be, there's some themes that I'd like you all to keep in mind. One is intentionality. You got to know where you want to go, and you have to be intentional with your actions to get it done. Anyone can put out ideas and say, I want to do A, B, or C, but do they have the chops to organize and get things lined up so dominoes all fall in the right direction to get you where you want? I guess, are you managing your surroundings, or are your surroundings managing you? And that intentionality has really helped Redmond over the years get these really cool things done. It doesn't mean there's not problems. Affordable housing is probably one of our biggest problems right now, which means we made some progress in the homeless area, but if the more employees that we have live in Redmond, the less traffic impacts we're going to have. These things all connect and being very intentional. As I said a little earlier, we need your participation in creating the 2050 plan, because we're really coming to the end of our 2030 plan. And we've implemented a lot of things in there. And people say, we don't have a plan. And I give them this big binder and say, yes, we do. Read it. Where'd that building come from? It's in the plan. We've zoned for that. We've, again, very intentionally have said our density is going to be downtown, Overlake, and Marymoor Village. We very purposely said we're trying to keep density out of our single-family neighborhoods. And I think we've been very successful. Not perfect, but very successful. We can't put our heads in the sand. If you're not thriving, you're dying. And we got to keep moving forward. So as I pass the baton, we still have the challenges of workforce housing, the variety we need in transportation, recreation, and housing, and keeping Redmond a place you can live your whole life. And that's becoming even more apparent as people live longer and need services that communities haven't offered before. Skilled nursing facilities, independent living, senior housing is becoming an issue. Issue, that sounds wrong. It's like, you're living too long. It's becoming a demand for services. And these are the things that we need to adjust for. And so in our 2050 plan, we need to realize how is our population going to change and what services are they going to need so we can anticipate it. As Overlake becomes more urbanized, we're going to do what we did in downtown. Downtown, we have bike patrols, and they ride in groups of 2 or 3. We're going to have to do that in our other urban centers. And the officers really enjoy it. But this is how we keep Redmond a safe place, a place that you're bring your family to, a place you're proud to show off, and a place you want to live your whole life. So the picture on the left is where I was born, in the log cabin at Anderson Park. It'll make a good story someday if I run for something else. But that cabin was actually built in about 1933 or 35 under FDR's programs, I think the CCC. And then the picture on the right is the new downtown park. Redmond, I'll argue, has always been a pioneering city. The railroad came through here in the late 1880s. It was a distribution center, farming, and timber. We keep innovating. Getting the railroad to come through Redmond back then was a big deal. Just like getting light rail to come to Redmond is a big deal. Back then we had to ship timber and grain and other physical supplies. Now we need to ship intellectual talent to the places they need to go. And that's why these systems are important. We continue to be a pioneering town. We're a bedroom community for Boeing. But in about 1958, some Boeing engineers decided they were tired of making airplanes and they wanted to build rockets. So they went out on Willows Road and they created what was then Rocket Research, which is now known as Aerojet. And we have things made in Redmond that are literally out of the solar system at this point. And I think you've heard me tell that story many times, but they all have a tag that says Redmond, Washington, 98052 on it. And I tell the kids, when the Martians come, they're coming to Redmond. In 1968, Physio Control was built at the end of Willows Road. Their main product of late has been defibrillators, automatic defibrillators, but they've done a number of medical supplies. It's been bought from a company, I want to say in the Midwest, but again, we have a lot of intellectual talent in Redmond, and we have it in part because Boeing hired a bunch of engineers, in part because those engineers got bored and created their own companies. We have more master's degree per 1,000 in Redmond than any place in the state except the Tri-Cities because they have nuclear physicists. And I don't want to study that. And so we had Nintendo in 1984, Microsoft in 85. We're having Oculus here soon. Oculus is owned by Facebook now, and they build these goggles for 3D world. Apparently, you're going to be able to, maybe you can do it now, just watch a whole movie right here that's going to be full surround participation. These are cutting edge. Back in, about 96 or so, my daughter played on a soccer team. She was 5 years old. And I ran into one of the parents at the Starbucks around here. And he worked for AT&T Wireless, which was a Redmond company at that time. And he was showing me this wood blocks and so forth, and explaining to me that he's going to put a camera inside a cell phone. And I nodded and I listened, and I came away saying, why the hell would anyone want a camera in a cell phone? But that's the point. I don't know the future. Government doesn't know the future. And we have to give the opportunity for everyone to strive for their own future. Some of them will succeed, some of them won't. But that's what drives both our local economy, our national economy, and our international economy. Microsoft is a worldwide brand. Believe it or not, Redmond is a worldwide brand. People know, Wall Street Journal doesn't necessarily refer to Microsoft, they refer to Redmond. That out in Redmond, they're doing this. Out in Redmond, they're doing that. And there's a story of the council member, this is Mr. Vacher, a long time ago, about 10 years ago, he went to Korea. And he met, he was waiting for his plane back home, and he met someone, and he asked, where are you from? And Pat said, Seattle. And the guy goes, oh, I don't know where Seattle is. And then Pat handed him his council card, and it said, Redmond, Washington. Oh, Redmond, why didn't you say so? I know where Redmond is. I tell every new mayor of Seattle that story. So to conclude, we've done a lot of great things. We are a pioneering city, and we should continue to be a pioneering city. To predict what's coming next would be foolish, but to allow the opportunity to create the environment so people can thrive, so businesses can try things, so our education system can grow and adapt and meet these needs. As I hand off the baton, I sincerely wish that next person, whoever they may be, the best of luck. It's a great job. My political science teacher told me in college, back in '84, mayor is a dead-end job. Every mayor he mentioned didn't really go on much further. I said I'll keep that in mind, so I knew I was taking a dead-end job 12 years ago. So where am I going next? I don't know, but I'm going to have fun doing it. And I thank you very much for your time and attention today. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. That means a lot to me, actually. You know, as mayor, I've never seen anyone have a good fourth term. When you're an executive elected official, you tick off about 10% of the people every year. And at 12 years, I've ticked off 120% of you. The legislative branch is a little easier to be reelected. The executive branch is, it's not a matter of not being reelected, but to get negative votes, that's never been done in an election yet. I'm willing to take a few questions. I was told we have some time. Any questions I can answer? Well, I'm glad I was so clear. Yes. You're right, it is a major problem in the Puget Sound area, and social problems in particular don't stop at your city borders. And so we work together with other jurisdictions. On the east side, we have a coalition of our human services staff get together and allocate money. We have affordable housing programs. Are they enough? They're probably never going to be enough. $3 million doesn't really sound that much, but when you add in Bellevues and Kirklands and so forth, it does count up and does produce buildings and facilities that help. There's another point I was going to make. Basically, homelessness is a complicated problem. It includes mental health issues. It includes drug issues, and it includes bad decision making or unfortunate maybe decision making. Most homeless people don't want to be homeless, but we have got, our homeless issue has migrated, if you will, the numbers are down, but into car camping. And we've worked with Overlake Church, and they allow people to park there, and they open their facilities for showers and so forth. We do have more, we call navigator services, where we have caseworkers to help people navigate out of their situation. And we've been trying to participate in the regional conversations. King County and Seattle have been leading that. I'd say this if they were in the room, they haven't been all that effectual. There's been issues with that, and they've done some good, but we're probably one of the worst places in the country in terms of us. San Francisco, San Diego are some of the 3 most difficult places, and we can do a better job. Other questions? Yes, Dr. Murray. Well, I think that's a great question. One, to be able to articulate a vision. It's easy to question, well, why didn't you do that better, or why didn't you do that better? But to say, this is where I think we should go, and do it in a way that you know generally where you want to go, but you're inclusive in bringing people into making those decisions. It's a fine balance. So the skills of listening, of vision, of communication, of being connected to the community. But leadership is what encompasses all those things. Leadership means coming out, and as I say, an executive has to come out and put their flag in the sand and say, this is where we should go. And then the council gets to move that flag somewhere, and that's where you really go. But to be that lone person to stick the flag in. And as a mayor, there's one of you. And as a legislative body, a council, there's 4 of you. It takes 4 of you to make a mistake at council. It only takes 1 of you to make a mistake as mayor. But leadership is accepting that you have to put something out there, and you have to work it, and then you have to have the humility to go implement it the way the community wants it. Other questions? Got an uplifting question? All right, well, thank you very much.
Hello, I don't know how that worked, but okay.
Well, your voice changed.
Yeah, I know, that's amazing, that's impressive. So the one thing I want you to know is that we're gonna make him now stand here and suffer through something else. So with that, if you're ready, Chip, are we ready? Justin?
Thank you, John, for your service to Redmond and our community. It has been a pleasure to have known you as a good friend for the last 20 years, and we have greatly valued your time and commitment in creating the vision for Redmond as it is now. It is a fabulous place to live, learn, work, and play due to your time and energies in doing so.
John has been a visionary leader. He has seen the changes that are going on and found a way to make them work for the benefit of Redmond. He has protected the single-family neighborhoods. He's brought light rail to Redmond 6 years before it otherwise would have gotten here, and he's done a lot of projects to make Redmond just a much better place to live. John, thank you for your service to Redmond, and thank you for your service to OneRedmond.
John, I first got to know you when you were the moderator for my interview panel, and apparently that worked out well because here I am. The work that you've done in Redmond has been outstanding, and we've enjoyed such a great partnership with the City of Redmond, with the school district. We wish you all the best as you continue in the next part of your journey.
John, I want to thank you for being so much to Redmond and steering our super growth into our downtown and Overlake areas and protecting our single family, and focusing now on middle-class affordable housing for our teachers and firefighters. But I really believe the long-term legacy is the fact that we're going to have light rail coming all the way to downtown Redmond. Thank you again.
How do I follow those two? I just want to say thank you for allowing Cascadia to become an integrated part of the City of Redmond and for accepting us as a part of the city's vision. I appreciate it. And I also appreciate what you've done for me personally, bringing me onto the Planning Commission and allowing me to help execute the vision you had for the city. I appreciate it. Good luck, and if you need a job, come find me.
Hey, John, thanks so much for everything you've done for the City of Redmond, for the business community, for the families. We're so appreciative of everything that you've done, your leadership, your contributions, your friendship. Wish you all the best, man. Gonna miss you, but we know where to find you. Congratulations.
John, from us at Microsoft, we just want to say thank you for all your partnership and our development and our collaboration over the years, and in particular with OneRedmond, your partnership in making this organization successful has really been appreciated. So best of luck in the future, and thank you for all your collaboration.
Let's see if I can get, oh, it does move quite a bit. What? All right, well, maybe, here we go. All right, I'm not that short. I'll just hold it. Well, as you know, Bart Phillips is out of the country, and I know he would have loved to have been here to show you our appreciation, but I'll do so now in his stead. As you all know, Redmond is a very forward-thinking city, and this is largely due to the leadership of Mayor John Marchione. Oh, thank you. During both his time at council and his years at mayor, he helped to create a foundation for the city to grow and to prosper. He laid the foundation for the transformation of Redmond's 2 urban centers by creating zoning and infrastructure plans. These plans supported exciting neighborhoods with urban amenities. These plans were the catalyst for the attraction and the acceleration of the extension of light rail to downtown Redmond. And it's going to be here in 2024, a full 10 years earlier than originally planned. And light rail will be transformational. It will connect our businesses and our citizens to job opportunities throughout the region. And I know some people are uncomfortable with change, but the changes we see in Redmond are intentional. They are designed to maintain Redmond's quality of life and economic vitality. This intention is a direct result of the mayor's leadership and in collaboration with City Council and the community. And you can't have change like this if the community cannot afford it. And under the mayor's leadership, the city implemented the price of government budgeting system, which has helped us keep pace with this growth. It has financed the capital improvements to maintain our infrastructure and quality of life, while at the same time minimizing taxes and costs to our businesses and our citizens. Lastly, he, in collaboration with our local business community, was at the center of the formation of OneRedmond, this organization. And we were established to ensure the future economy of this region while strongly supporting the health of our existing business community. And of course, the mayor didn't do this all on his own. He was supported by city staff, the city council, and the community. But it is with this leadership that Mayor John Marchione was strong and steady. And it is why we arrive at the place we find ourselves today. So on behalf of OneRedmond, our board, and our staff, we would like to ask you to accept this award that Aisha has right here, along with our sincerest gratitude.
Thank you.